the vast majority of investment literature and the vast majority of personas that appear in front of TV cameras and in other ways assume all of that stuff away. You know, the assumption, the implicit assumption in the interview with the Outstanding Investor Digest, with the Manual of Ideas, with Value Investor Insight, when you go on Bloomberg is, I'm a guy who manages all of that. And the truth is that none of us, I believe, not even Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, are people who manage all of that or who innately have those skills. Those skills are, and maybe it's not even right to call them skills, those habits of acting in a more intelligent fashion or in a more rational fashion are acquired through, you know, blood, sweat, grit and tears, to badly phrase, I think, Winston Churchill. And so the answer to your question, John, is not, hey, I was freaking brilliant, or I was born a value investor, so what do you expect? The answer, I think, lies, like with many things, you know, what we want to write about is the one killer insight, or the one killer thing that actually changed everything, and wouldn't it be nice if the world was so simple? But in many, many cases, it's, you know, a myriad of small things that made all the difference. And I'll just go through some of the things that make the difference between, you know, piling into the tech bubble in the year 2000 and not piling in. So one is, for example, just being, this is not, being selective about your information intake. And this is not something where I wake up, where I sort of naturally and innately have the right desires in terms of information intake. I have the same appetites to read gossip and to read stock tips and to go to all sorts of websites that are not good for my investing health like anybody else. There's an act of sheer willpower and insight to understand that if I allow myself to go to those websites, I am not going to benefit. So stay on the straight and narrow, stick with the Manual of Ideas and similar websites, and you will do well. Go to the gossip-laden websites and you won't do well. So there's one element of it. Another element is who you talk to. So if I talk to John Miljevic, I will have a high-quality conversation about stocks than if I talk to some guy that I just met at the Momentum conference in New York. And there are many gradations of that. It's the reason why every year for the last 15 years I've gone to the Berkshire Hathaway meetings. Now people will laugh at it and say that it's a pilgrimage, but what I'm doing is I'm saying at the margin, if I end up having a slightly better relationship or a slightly closer relationship with somebody who is a thoughtful investor, that at the margin may at some point either help me to make that critical investment decision or prevent me from making that critical investment decision. But and in terms of those kinds of, that's a conscious decision. When I'm deciding to buy the plane ticket to go to Berkshire Hathaway, I'm saying to myself, in the first few years that I did it, I want to get this change inside me, and however tenuous that link is, I know that the link is there, so I'm going to act on it. Give you another example, behavior at the Berkshire meeting. What do you do? For the first few years at the Berkshire meeting, I did not line up at 5 a.m. to go and sit at the very front until I met Monish Pabrai, and then every year since I line up with Monish Pabrai to sit at the very front. That is not just us being a bunch of Berkshire groupies. It is an intelligent and strategic way to think, because guess who else is at the front? First of all, you're close to the barrier where on the other side are sitting people like Bill Gates and Howard Buffett and some of the other directors of Berkshire Hathaway, and those are incredible people. But then on our side of that sort of divide, there are people like Prem Watsa in the audience and Tom Gaynor, and they're all sitting down there as well. Ajit Jain wasn't sitting far away with his children last meeting. So those relationships get strengthened. So there's another aspect, simply relationships. We've talked about information inflow. So it's, that's one of two ways, but I guess the key thing, John, is that